Hey guys, welcome back here to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, my name is Joelle and I am a full-time reseller and content creator on several secondhand platforms like Poshmark, eBay, Whatnot, and Mercari. And today I have a what sold video from the last couple of weeks. And instead of going over every single sale, we are going to talk about 15 of my most notable sales from the last 2 weeks. Most of those are from Poshmark, but I also had some great eBay sales and surprisingly one on Depop. So I will talk about the brand, the specific item, maybe some keywords that I used. Of course, I will talk about my cost of goods and my profit per item. And my hope for this video is that you all can see what is currently selling in my closet and if you think that it would be a good fit for you to start sourcing as a reseller as well. So while you're watching this video, if you find any sort of value, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button below and turn those notifications on so you don't miss any future videos. But now we're going to get right into the what sold. I do have a lot of Poshmark sales to talk about here at the beginning. And first up, I have this Leslie Evers Marley Aqualines tunic. And this one sold for $30 on a counter offer sent by the buyer. And this was a $50 listing. I did send out an offer for $40 in discounted shipping. They did end up letting that offer expire. And then the next day they did offer 30 bucks. I thought that was really reasonable. Leslie Evers was a new to me brand and I was pleasantly surprised to see some sold comps, but it didn't seem to be that notable of a brand or maybe that popular of one. So I was willing to take offers, especially because this was a size extra small and it also had a few flaws to that satin fabric. So I was really happy to receive a fairly reasonable offer. My cost of goods was just $1.79, and so after fees and cost of goods, I made a fairly quick $22.21 for this tunic because it did sell within about 1 month of listing. Next up is a very reliable brand and one of my personal favorite pairs of shorts. So for $20 on an offer sent by the buyer, I sold these new without tags, Free People the Way Home shorts. This is from the Free People movement line. Free People can definitely be oversaturated on the market. Seems like a lot of big resellers get the same wholesale pallets. I personally would love to get some Free People pallets too, so I don't blame them. But I do see a lot of Free People all over live selling, and it seems like it floods all of these selling platforms. So when I found these, I did pay $6.99 for them at Ross. I was kind of hesitant to pick them up, but like I said, these are my personal favorite pairs of shorts. I actually purchased the exact same pair on Poshmark about a year ago. I noticed how popular the Way Home shorts were. When I looked up sold comps and the frequency of sold comps on eBay, I noticed that they were still very popular. So that was my reasoning behind picking it up. I knew that I wouldn't make that much of a profit because they only retailed for about 35 bucks. I had them listed for 30, so I thought $20 was a pretty reasonable offer. And this sale was more about getting that quick flip rather than getting a good profit. Sometimes those are going to be the sales that you need to look for, especially during these summer slowdown months. I am definitely willing to pay a little up for some items, knowing that even though I don't make the best profit, they will have a good sell-through rate because that is what I am really looking for during these slow months. So for these shorts, like I said, I paid $6.99. They did end up selling within about 1 month of listing and definitely brought a lot of attention to my closet. So after fees and cost of goods, I profited a fairly quick $9.01 for these Free People movement shorts. Next up, we have a not so quick flip, especially compared to those first two sales I talked about. But for $30 on a counter offer sent by the buyer, I sold this vintage Beachy by Florine Wachter wraparound taupe blazer. Please forgive me for butchering that title. This was a very high-end vintage brand. I want to say that this blazer was from the 80s. It did have that union made in USA tag, which is something that I always look for when I'm sourcing vintage clothing. And with vintage pieces, I have a lot in my closet. I'm definitely being more picky with what I pick up. If I did see this one again at the thrift store, especially for the 98 cents that I spent on it, I would pick it up again. Even though it probably wouldn't be a quick flip, just like this one wasn't, it ended up being a really decent profit and it fit a lot of the criteria that I look for when I'm sourcing vintage. So I thought this was a really good piece. Of course, I would have wanted the quicker flip, but again, with vintage, you really can't expect that for a lot of pieces. But like I said, my cost of goods was just 98 cents. And so after fees and cost of goods, I made $22.02 for this vintage wraparound blazer. Now, next up, we have a very quick flip. This is something that sold within just under 2 days of listing. So for $32 plus discounted shipping, I sold this soft surroundings velvet boyfriend button-up shirt. You may have seen it in my most previous thrift haul. By the time I had edited and uploaded that thrift haul, this shirt had already sold. So that goes to show you how quick of a flip this one was. This was one of my first soft surroundings pieces that ended up being a decent sale. A lot of other pieces were smaller sizes and they just didn't sell the best. I've always heard that when you source soft surroundings, you should look for maybe a large and up. All the pieces I had found were small and medium. And I also thought that this style was really good. So I think a lot of that contributed to this listing selling really quick. I did list it for $40, so it sold on a 20% offer plus discounted shipping to a brand new liker. It did rack up a few likes too in the short duration of that listing. I want to say it had at least 2 or 3 likes on it. And on the screen, I will share some keywords. Also, just so you guys know, I do have my laptop over here, so that is why I keep looking over here on the side. But this shirt cost me just $1.79, and so after fees and cost of goods, I made a very quick $21.79 for the soft surroundings button-down shirt. Next up was a fairly surprising full price sale. This was definitely something that I tried to price accordingly so I could make a quick flip. But for $40 on Poshmark, I sold this Dockers Premium leather jacket. This was a men's extra large, but something that I advertised as unisex. And I thought this jacket was vintage, but when I looked at the Dockers tag, I realized that I think it was from the 2000s, maybe around that 2010 era. Some people might think that that lowers the value, but for something like this, that is such a high quality leather jacket, I don't think it matters what era it was made. And I thought that this one looked kind of like a shacket, which made it seem a little bit more trendy. But one of the biggest resources that I use when I am sourcing vintage or Y2K items is Vintage Fashion Guild. It is a website where if you type in any sort of brand, you can see their labels through the years. So a great example would be Dockers. I looked at the Dockers tags and I was able to pinpoint the exact decade that this jacket was made. And that is something that will really boost your vintage and Y2K listings because a lot of people will search based on a specific era or decade. But for this leather jacket, my cost of goods was just $1.56. I managed to find this at the bins and in pretty great condition. So after fees and cost of goods, I profited $30.44 for this Dockers leather jacket. Next up was another full price sale and one that really surprised me. So for 25 cents, I sold this tangerine gray exercise skirt. I'm surprised because this is a brand that is definitely not a BOLO, but I picked it up for $1.79 and thought that it was a good enough style to list. I did put it in a couple of Whatnot shows and I tried to take it to Plato's Closet. Nobody ended up buying it. So obviously I'm happy because it ended up selling for full price and I got way more of a profit than I would on Whatnot or Plato's Closet. So this was a very successful Poshmark sale. But if you see any type of exercise skirt like this, I would recommend running comps. Obviously, don't pick up every brand. Make sure you're careful. Honestly, if I saw this one again, I don't know if I would pick it up, but I wanted to share it because it is such a good style that people are really looking out for. So if I did see this in a thrift store again, it would probably be a game time decision if I picked it up or not. But for this tangerine exercise skirt, I ended up profiting $18.21. And from the time I sourced it, it ended up selling within about 2 months of listing. Next up, we are on a roll because there's another full price sale on Poshmark. So for $28, I sold this pink V-neck sweater, and this was a collab with the brand Forenza. That was a brand that I had never heard of, but it did definitely raise the value just a little bit from selling something that is just pink. This sweater cost me $3.49, and it actually ended up being a quick flip from the time that I listed on Poshmark. I'm pretty sure that it sold within about 1 week of listing. This was something that I tried to sell on Whatnot. People ended up not wanting to buy it, and again, I'm okay with that because I made such a good profit selling it on Poshmark instead. But it was one of those pieces that I picked up probably 5 or 6 months ago. I tried to sell it back then, and then I kind of just let it get lost in my inventory. So I ended up not even listing it. I think I had found some old photographs in my camera roll that I had photographed it a few months ago and I still didn't list it. So finally I decided to just go ahead and get it listed. And I am glad that I did end up listing it because after fees and cost of goods, I made a quick $18.91 for this pink collab sweater. Next up is a great BOLO brand, but definitely something you should be picky with. So for $31 in discounted shipping, I sold these Tory Burch navy blue trousers. This was something that surprisingly sold quick. It was on a $45 listing. So I know I sent out an offer. I don't know what percent that was, maybe 30 or 40%, but these were a size 0 and definitely a plain pair of pants. So this is another one of those pieces like that tangerine skirt that I'm not sure if I would pick them up again. They did only cost me $3.40 though, so that low cost of good definitely made me purchase it, but I don't know if I would consider this a BOLO style, but Tory Burch is obviously a BOLO brand if you can find their shoes or purses. But this did end up selling fairly quick within about a month, so maybe it is a BOLO style. It surely was a good profit, so I'm very happy with the sale. So for these pants, after fees and cost of goods, I profited fairly quick, $19.38. Next up was another pretty quick sale that sold within about 1 or 2 months of listing. So for $30 in discounted shipping, I sold these Michael Kors Brown Thea wedge booties. And these boots were thankfully free to me from one of my mom's friends. She ended up giving me a whole haul of clothes after I shopped her garage sale. Somehow I missed these shoes. I definitely would have purchased them at her garage sale, but I'm really glad that no one ended up buying them because they ended up making me a pretty decent profit. So this was definitely a good BOLO style. I saw a fair amount of sold comps. They were a size 6 or 6.5 too, which is definitely a tough size to sell. So I was happy to see them sell fairly quick. They did sell for 40% off plus discounted shipping. So I do think if you found these, especially in a bigger size, in pretty good condition, you could sell them for a little bit more. For me, because they were free, I was okay with letting them go for a lower price. I have a little bit of trouble selling small sizes, as do a lot of other resellers. Sometimes selling those smaller shoe sizes can be tough. So after fees and cost of goods, I made a pretty quick $21.98 for these Michael Kors shoes. Next up, we have the definition of Barbiecore. If you're not sourcing any type of hot pink, Barbie pink items right now, definitely make sure to start looking out for them at your thrift stores, consignment stores, retail arbitrage, whatever way you source. Because as I'm recording this video, the Barbie movie comes out in about 10 days. So a lot of people are looking for hot pink items. So make sure you put lots of Barbie keywords in all of your hot pink listings. But this sale was a full price sale on eBay. It did sell via promoted listing, but for $49.99, I sold this vintage Catalina ribbed one-piece skirt set. So this was vintage swimwear and it was in excellent condition, which is very rare. I usually stay away from swimwear at my thrift stores because most of it is either marked up if it's new with tags or it is just pre-owned with way too much wear. So this one was like new. I was very surprised, but I was pleasantly surprised because like I said, this is just the definition of Barbie. So I did use the Vintage Fashion Guild resource to try to find what era this swimsuit was from. I was stuck between the 80s and the 90s, so I did post it in a Poshmark Facebook group, and people in the comments were also torn between the 80s and the 90s. So let me know in the comments if you know what era the swimsuit is from. I definitely do not. I made sure to note that in the listing that it could be from either one of those decades, but I will say it's very helpful to ask for advice in those Facebook groups. If you do put Poshmark in your search bar on Facebook, you will see a lot of different groups to be a part of. They're definitely very helpful. You can see lots of new brands, lots of trends, what sold, really just any type of reseller content. So definitely make sure to join those groups if you're not a part of them. But back to the Barbie swimsuit. This only cost me $1.79, which was just the icing on the cake. This is honestly a piece that I'd be willing to pay up for, probably up to around $10, just because Barbie is so popular right now. But after fees and cost of goods, I made a fairly quick $38.26 because this vintage swimsuit sold within about 3 weeks of listing. Next up, we have another full price sale. This one is also on eBay. So I'm noticing that I was blessed with the full price sales the past couple of weeks. Cannot complain about that. So this is new without tags, Bleecker and Bond Natalie booties. This was a sale where the buyer actually asked if I could ship them out as soon as possible. It was over the 4th of July weekend. I want to say it was on Sunday, and they asked if I could ship it out ASAP. I said I could ship it out Monday. The holiday was on Tuesday, so they needed it by Thursday. I'm going to share with you guys the message that I sent to the buyer on eBay because they did say they were willing to pay extra for shipping. That would have meant that I would have had to cancel the order, relist it, and they would have to purchase it with a different type of shipping, maybe some type of overnight or expedited shipping. But in this message, I basically said there's no guarantee that they can get there by Thursday. I will do my best and I will ship them out first thing Monday morning. And I'm not sharing this message to brag. I am instead giving you guys another reminder to just seek advice, join those Poshmark Facebook groups, join eBay groups, really just any type of resources you can find. The YouTube community is really great too. I've been focusing a lot on customer service in 2023, and I really think it goes a long way. So you can get repeat buyers, happy buyers, and people who will not cancel your orders. This was definitely one that I was afraid would get canceled because I told this person there was no guarantee that they would arrive by Thursday, but they ended up having no complaints and they were very happy to stick with the priority mail shipping that was already on the listing. So it ended up being a very smooth transaction. And I think a lot of that contributed to just good customer service. It never hurts to be nice to your buyers and give them the best customer service possible. But these brand new heels cost me just $5. So after fees and cost of goods, I profited $30.67. Next up, we have another eBay sale. I feel like my eBay really came alive the past couple of weeks. So for $19 on an offer sent by the buyer, via promoted listing, I sold this J. Crew Mercantile floral midi dress. I feel like I say it a lot, but this was another one of those keyword heavy listings. I thought it was a really great casual spring and summer dress, and I included a lot of cottagecore related keywords. But this dress only cost me $3.90. I will say I wish it would have sold for more. I think I had it listed for $40 on Poshmark and I think $30 or $35 on eBay and Mercari. It was something that had been relisted and it got a lot of attention on all of my platforms, but nobody ended up buying it. So when I received an offer, I jumped right onto that offer and decided to make the sale. And this feels like a good transition to throw in a shameless plug. I did relist this dress using Posh Sidekick. If you do want to check out Posh Sidekick, I do have my code linked below, and I'll also put it on the screen so y'all can see it. My favorite part about it is that it's mobile phone friendly. So you do have an app. It will share your items while you are on your phone, while you're out thrifting. You can be doing anything and it will be sharing your listings all day long. And I also use it to send out automatic offers to likers and relist any stale items after 31 days of listing. And my new favorite feature that Posh Sidekick has, if you do follow them, you have seen this announcement, but Posh Sidekick has come out with an automation tool so you can have automated Poshmark silent shows. So that means you can load your shop on the Posh Sidekick app. You do filter it out to see what type of discounts you want on your listings. For example, I will be having a 50% off activewear sale. As I'm recording this, I will be having this sale tomorrow morning. And the best part is Posh Sidekick is automating the entire thing. So they will have my listings running. You could also put in certain keywords, for example, something like request. And if somebody comments with request in your show, you will get immediately notified that somebody in the chat wants to talk to you or has a question. So you can hop right back onto the app and answer that question in the comments. But this is quite literally the closest you can get to making money while you're doing nothing. This is such a cool feature that Posh Sidekick has come out with. I will definitely make sure to review it at some point, but I would highly recommend using Posh Sidekick as your automation tool. And again, I do have that code below. You can do a free trial, no obligation, no sign up necessary, and you can get a discount off your first month if you do use that code. But now that my shameless plug is over, let's get back into the sales. So for this J. Crew Mercantile dress, I paid $3.90. So after fees and cost of goods, I profited $11.74. And this dress sold within about 2 to 3 months of listing. All right, these next two sales go hand in hand. So first up, I have this Nike Y2K Cherry Red exercise skirt. And this one sold on a $24 offer sent by the buyer on, wait for it, Depop. I'm just gonna put my business out there. This was my first Depop sale in 16 weeks, which is 4 months. I was so ashamed. I'm a full-time reseller and I had not had a sale on the platform for 4 months. Thankfully, Depop is not my best performing platform. Obviously, I'm very happy to get sales on Poshmark and eBay and Mercari. But the one positive thing I will say about Depop is that my average sales price is pretty high on there. So this was a $30 listing. I received a lot of offers on this specific listing and people ended up never paying. So to get a $24 offer, that's 20% off. So definitely a very reasonable offer. I do offer free shipping now on Depop. One of those little incentives to try to get more sales because again, hadn't had a sale in 4 months. So as long as I am making money, any sale on Depop is a good sale. But this skirt cost me just $1.79. And so after fees and cost of goods, with that free shipping included, I profited $13.20 for this Nike exercise skirt. And like I said, it goes hand in hand with this next sale. So I have another Nike Y2K gray and white exercise skirt this time, and this one sold for $15 on eBay on an offer sent by the buyer. This was another one of those skirts that got a lot of attention on all of my platforms, so I was really happy to see it sell. I got these two and then one other Nike Y2K skirt, all in the same Goodwill trip. They cost me $1.79 each. I was so excited to find them because I've seen a lot of good things about exercise and tennis skirts lately, and I thought Nike Y2K, that's a lot of good things together, so I figured that they would be really quick flips. They've gotten attention on all of my platforms. They're all cross-listed, but they still took almost 3 months to sell, so that part was kind of disappointing, which is part of the reason why I did accept a $15 offer on a $30 listing. But thankfully, eBay fees aren't that bad. I don't think this one sold on a promoted listing too, which made it even better. So after fees and cost of goods, I profited $11.43 for this Y2K Nike skirt. All right, we're on to the final notable sale of the past couple of weeks. Like I said, I don't include every single sale. Instead, I include the ones that I feel are the most worth sharing. This one I hesitated to include because it was by no means a high profit sale, but it was a piece that I picked up very specifically because it was a modern style, not because it was a decent brand. So for $15 in discounted shipping on Poshmark, so it was a $25 listing, I sold this 90 degrees reflex interlink ribbed cropped pullover. So like I said, not the best brand. 90 degrees is sold at places like Nordstrom Rack, but does not have the best resale value. You do see it a lot too at TJ Maxx and Marshalls. So people aren't gonna pay a lot for it. This thing probably retailed for about 40, maybe 50 bucks, but I did pick it up because of the color and because it did have that little date tag underneath the material tag. I feel like I say it a lot, but brands like J. Crew, Banana Republic, Madewell, and so many more have these little date tags that will show you the year that an item was manufactured. A lot of people are going to look for newer styles, especially consignment stores. So I always make sure to pick up modern pieces, usually from around 2018 and 2019 or sooner. So this one I think was from 2022. It was a very new style. I think it was sold out on the 90 Degrees website, and it was sort of a sage green color, which is a very popular color right now. So those are my reasons for picking it up. It did end up being a pretty quick flip too. After not selling on Whatnot, I decided to list it for $25 on Poshmark, and it ended up selling on a 40% offer to likers round that I had. I usually try to send 40% off about once a month, and it ended up selling within just a few days of listing. So this pullover cost me just $1.79, and so after fees and cost of goods, I made a quick $8.19. All right, we have now gone over my 15 most notable sales of the past couple of weeks. This what sold video I feel like was a lot better than the last one. I got a lot of good full price sales, and I really hope that you all got some good brands and styles that you are going to be on the lookout for now. And I love hearing your feedback in the comments. So let me know if you have any experience selling these brands, whether you like selling them or not. I know that some things sell really well for one seller and not the best for others. I know there's a lot of brands out there that people love to sell and they just don't sell well for me. So I really like hearing your guys' opinions in the comments too. And if you want to check out more videos on my channel, I do have a few linked below, and I also have some playlists. I have a whole playlist of what sold videos if you want to see what's been selling recently for me. But that is all I have for you guys today. So now that we're at the end of this video, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you for the next video.